Well, we want to say welcome to you, and especially you. And I pray that Miss Renee is piping us into the clubhouse. And I am Pastor Jeff, and this is Mindset, Matrimony, Money, Tom Ford Fridays. And I'm glad to be with you. We're going to be getting this going. Again, this is the time for the men to talk, have that barbershop talk, that pool hall talk, while the ladies are flies on the wall. And so we're going to go ahead and bring our guest up for today. We've got none other than Sean 10K from 10K Cards. We're going to bring him up. And we have Mr. Jonathan Simmons, who is a single. I don't know if he's available, ladies. You're going to have to ask him that yourself. You got to put it in the chat because you can't talk. And we've got the heavyweight champion of the world, none other than the people's unbeatable Triple J. Gentlemen, how are you on
today? I'm doing great, Pastor Jeff. How are you doing today, sir?
As you can tell, I'm fired up and excited for another Men's Friday. You know, we don't often get these spaces where it's just the men chopping it up. You know, when the women are there, we do it when we're by ourselves and in our man cave. But when the women are there, normally they let us get a couple of words in and then they've got questions. But look, gentlemen, this is a safe space for us to talk it up like it's just us. Now, we may take a few other comments or questions in the comments from the ladies. We will let them have that if we get to it, if the conversation supports it. But other than that, we're going to talk about some men stuff tonight. Sean 10K, I know you're doing super fantastic. How you been, brother?
Look, I'm always amazing, man. And to see how you fight to protect the space, Jeff, is beautiful.
Somebody's got to do it, Sean. You know,
as much as I want to give a woman a chance, Jeff is like, men only. Sorry, ladies, I fought for you, but Jeff won.
Yeah, Sean, you fought, but you didn't fight hard enough. This is the men's space. I believe this is the only place on Clubhouse that we can come in and absolutely let the men run it, let the men feel comfortable. You know what happens now. Once we come out of our cave, if we get sent back, it takes a whole lot to come back out. So we're not going to let the ladies jack that up. Once we get out, hey, it's Rukanda. All right. So let's go ahead and get straight into it for today. I want to talk about mindset, gentlemen. I don't know if you know it or not, but our 13th Amendment will suggest, and I'm not going to read it, but it's what gives us our freedom, but there's an exception in it. It says, except for those that are imprisoned. And so that Emancipation Act and the law and the amendment does not give freedom to those who are incarcerated. So the rights that we thought we gained through slavery, outside of slavery, actually have a new name. And so there's a documentary that's entitled Slavery by Another Name. And then there's another documentary, both of them are on YouTube, called 13th, the number 13 with a TH after. And both of those go into what we call the slavery by another name. Now, I know you want to, Pastor Jeff, why in the world are you bringing that up? Because the mindset is this. Gentlemen, as men of color, how has this slavery by another name affected you? Because in wake of the past incidents that have been going on in the world and in the United States, just in the last month, I believe we have to look at the mindset of our men. And so, Sean, I see it. How does this slavery by another name, where the free labor of primarily men of color, how does that affect you, and how do you see that affecting fathers and potential fathers?
Well, the reality of the situation is it doesn't affect me at all, number one. Number two, I've been fighting to give others the same power and freedom that I'm enjoying myself every day. Because the reality of the situation, Pastor Jeff, if you're going to give your time and your energy and your labor, let it be your contribution to someone else. Don't have someone else capitalize on that without your permission. There's nothing wrong with contributing, but let it be your choice. So at a very early age, Pastor Jeff, I just made a decision to take control of my own destiny. I made a decision to be an entrepreneur and to create what I want for me and my family. And I've just been stuck on that path. I've never gotten off of it. And the most that I'm doing on a daily basis is inspiring others to get onto that same path. Because if you're not making the decisions for you and your family, Pastor Jeff, someone else will. And you may not like the outcome of those decisions.
I knew that's where you was going to take it, Mr. Sean.
Right.
Triple J. Your perspective.
I understand what's going on, but like Sean, it don't affect me either.
Right.
It doesn't. I think when you talk about us and the way that things are trying to change and trying to, I guess, imprison us and shackle us again, you have to have a stronger mind than that. You have to have the mindset that you are who you are and your value and who you are as a person and your family and other people, and empower them, to rise above those type things, and those stereotypes and those labels, they're nothing but cages, and I ain't in no cage, baby. I'm free, baby.
There we go. That part.
Well, there are the stereotypes, and I don't buy into the stereotypes. But if I'm honest with you, brothers, it has affected my family. As a matter of fact, when I was a teenager, Sean, you're going to find this interesting. I ran away from home. My parents were separated, ended up being divorced, and I wanted to live with my dad. So I ran away from home, didn't exactly know where he was living at. Went to the police station to get them to help me to get to where my dad was at. John, do you know what those police did? They locked Pastor Jeff up. They put me in a cell with nothing but a drain in the middle of the floor.
Bam.
I spent hours, but it seemed like years. And I realized then that I never, ever wanted to be locked up in that type of situation again. However, when we look at the system, all right, and we may not be directly affected by the system, but so many of our other young men are affected by the system in the wrong place at the wrong time, or for a minor crime, they receive maximum time for something that they could pay their debt to society and be re-entered into the society. However, a minor crime, they get a maximum sentence. And when they get a maximum sentence, it affects their entire family. So now you have other young men growing up without a male role model because those men have been locked up because it has become free labor. And so my point is, as successful men at this point in our lives, how or are we doing anything to be able to assist our other young brothers to not fall into that trap that's set up for them? There is research that proves that they determined by the third grade how many prison cells that they need. By the third grade. Then they're building those cells. And now that the prison system has been commercialized, they get paid. And the states have to provide people to fill them. So what do you say about that, Sean? What can we do as those who have been blessed to be entrepreneurs, those who have been blessed to escape that system? What can we do not only for other young men, but what can we do for our sisters who are single mothers raising young men?
I so love that question, Pastor Jeff. And these are the spaces I love spending time with, because this is being recorded and that will be rebroadcast to other individuals. They will get to feed from this message that we're putting down today. So let's just highlight that as being point number one. Point number two, my entire life is spent in speaking and inspiring. Speaking, inspiring, and cultivating partnerships. So every second of every minute of every hour of every day, Pastor Jeff, and Unbreakable, I'm taking the time to actually inspire others that don't not only look like me, but also moms. One of the reasons I have a soft spot in my heart for moms is that what I've seen in society is that mothers have to go out there and provide for the family. Because the men from within society, for all the different reasons, including the one that you just mentioned, the man has failed the woman. So the woman now have to go out there and provide income for their family. So one of the things that we do is that we have a soft spot in our organization for mothers. Because if we can help mothers to bring more income into their family, it means they'll get to work a little less and they can rest a little more in their feminine energy, so to speak. So we're always making space for single mothers, Jeff. We're always inspiring the men by leading by example. Because anytime you guys see or hear of me on any stage, any platform, I'm pushing the one consistent message. How can we become independent? How can we take charge of our own destiny? How can we inspire someone else? Not to give a hand out, but how can you give a hand up to someone else to bring them closer to where you are and we keep moving forward? You know, while I was at a conference this weekend, Pastor, I met a 12-year-old guy. And the 12-year-old kid, he has a superpower. It's called Ashburgers. Some people call it disability. I call it a superpower. So when I saw this kid at the age of 12 years old, and he had the ability to retain information that he read in the book, what did I do? I took the opportunity to partner up with him. So I spoke to his mom. I presented him with one of the $10,000 products that we have, and I made him a partner in our company. Now, this guy's only 12 years old. What do you think is going to happen when he gets to the age of 18 years old? And what I'll be doing is leveraging the relationships that I have to surround him with more, with other mentors, with different skill set. So as he is growing, he's being protected by a team of professionals that's going to help to guide him into the future that he's destined to be into. So always let's just keep looking around us and see how we can help the few within the community to be a better inspiration to the culture as a whole. So that's my contribution.
I love that. I love the fact that you are pouring into the youth, because some people say they are our future. They're our today.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're able, you reframe what some people look at, as you said, a disability, and you said as a superpower. You know, Pastor, I'm just being transparent. Pastor Jeff has been diagnosed, and I say diagnosed because the diagnosis is not my destiny. I'm diagnosed with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder.
Me too. Keep calling names. Keep calling names. Me too.
You know,
me too.
However, you know, some days, Triple J, I'm challenged with it, but it's not who I am. It doesn't define who Pastor Jeff is. I understand and know what the symptoms are. And some days I may go through a moment of depression, but I don't live my life depressed, as you gentlemen can tell. So I like that fact, Sean. But I'm gonna come back to after Triple J tells us his perspective on that. I want to come back to something else that's significant about what you said, Sean. Triple J, your perspective on what we do for our single mothers and for our young men who may not have had the same opportunities that we have.
You know, and I'll just say this, coming from the perspective of the child that came from a broken home, because you know my father was not there. You know, so my mother raised me and my sister by herself. So I had to learn at an early age that heartbreaking lesson about not having a father, you know, in my life. You know, having the two-parent home, you know, and stuff like that. So my heart goes out to the young people, because I know how they feel. I know how they feel, you know, to grow up like that. And so it's our responsibility, you know, and I say our, not just one person, our responsibility as the ones that are older, the ones that are the leaders, to go back and to pour into young people like that, you know, and let them know that uh, just because you're in this situation doesn't mean that the circumstances of society apply to you. You can still overcome even those obstacles and be successful and to be great. So the ones that are great, you know, they have to pour back into the youth, you know, and even the mothers, give them hope, because I watched my mother, man. work 2 and 3 jobs, man, to provide for me and my sister. And so I know it's hard for a lot of people, but to also pour into those mothers too, because some of them have it pretty tough. It's pretty rough for a lot of them. But to let them know that there's still hope. You know what I'm saying? Just because, and you said something, your diagnosis don't define you. You know what I'm saying? The diagnosis of you being a single parent, that don't define you. The diagnosis of you being diagnosed as, a child without both parents, that don't define you. You can rise above that. And what we have to do is pour into them that faith and hope and love and patience into the youth, into the mothers, you know what I'm saying? And let them know that better is coming. They just got to keep pushing, but we got to be the ones to say something. We can't just sit there and not say anything to them. You know what I'm saying? Especially when we have overcome. That's selfish for us not to go back and say something, right?
Absolutely.
So that's what we have to do. We have to go back and pour into the community, pour into our youth, and pour into those single mothers so they'll know. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And one of the things, again, being transparent, I've had a successful career in the military. My wife had a successful career in the military, and I have several businesses. And so my youngest son got into an accident, and because of that, because we were in a position to be able to hire a lawyer, 10K, we were able to keep him from actually being charged and then possibly spending jail time. And so when I look at that, I said, had that been me when I was coming up, my parents didn't have that. So Pastor Jeff would have given me locked up, And what I tell my older son is that when you have made a mistake and you have become a part of the system and you've been labeled and some of your rights have been taken away, one of the things I tell my son, and I would tell anyone else who has been in that position, is that, as 10K said, become an entrepreneur. If you own your own business, I asked my son, I said, look, if you're your own boss, when you interview yourself, are you going to tell yourself, oh, I'm not going to hire you? Are you going to fire yourself? No. So if you become your own boss, and so many examples of those who became a part of the system and were headed to die a statistic, turned the tables around, and they've created empires. And so, Sean, thank you for what you're doing with that young man that's 12 years old and teaching him how to become an entrepreneur. And so his conversation with other young men his age will now be about, hey, I'm a business owner. And he has a role model and an example to follow at that young age. And it's so important. Looking at single mothers, we have from Miss Lynell Barnes. She says, as a single mother, I am proud to have raised 2 boys completely on my own, and none of them have been a part of the system. Raising boys hasn't been easy, but I never excuse their behavior. Oh, there it is. Thank you. We got to put it up there. And so, for some mothers, they've been able to do that. Now, gentlemen, let's go into this conversation since Miss Lynell Barnes brought this up. It's often said that it takes a man to teach a boy to be a man, and it takes a woman to teach a girl to be a girl. And so for single parents, whether they be men or women, oftentimes we talk about the single ladies, but we don't talk about the single men who are taking care of their children. So for the single parent without that other spouse of the opposite gender, gentlemen, what do we do? How do we help the men become
money solve all problems?
Look at Sean. Go ahead, Sean.
Well, let me explain to you what I mean now, guys. If enough income is being generated, the mothers will be able to send their sons to different support groups, different seminars, different events. And I don't even mean this in a funny way now. Like, I'm being so serious now. There's so many events and seminars that guys can be sent to. There's also free seminars, free programs that younger boys can be sent to. So if there's no father figure within the family home or within the the family dynamics that's willing to step up, go find these groups, go find these seminars, go find these events, and start getting your sons into these events, podcasts, different conversations. Get them involved in these manly conversations, because these manly conversations is what's going to basically help to extract something within them. Something will be said, some exercise that they will pass through will start extracting what they already have within them. Because in my opinion, these conversations, Pastor Jeff, is a way of pulling what we have from within the audience member that's watching that can resonate with the message. So again, with some of the high level events and conversations, they will cost money. So that's why I'm always telling everyone, confront the money chapter. If you confront it, there's no shy feelings about the money, then you'll be able to get past the money conversations. And then, like, okay, for example, Pastor Jeff, my son he's 17 years old. Next year, he's going to have at least 5 companies that 10K cars will subcontract to do work for. So coming into the gates, he don't have to be a quote-unquote boss. We can travel for summer. We're traveling across the U.S., doing different speaking events and different events so they can have an experience. But I made a decision that if my son don't want to go to the college, which I'll be honest with you guys, I don't support, I will send him to all the conferences, all the events that he has to go through to really shape his mind and to get him ready to take on this world that we call it. When I see gas prices are being risen, I get excited, because it just means that we're going to get some more motivated people entering the playing ground to generate more income. And when motivated people enter the playing ground, what's going to happen? Opportunities are created. Don't cry because of the gas prices. Figure out another way to earn another source of income. That's it for me.
All right, 10K. All right. Triple J.
Don't get me started on this, guys. It's Friday.
Oh, we warming up. We warming up. We're talking about the mindset now. We're gonna get into the relationships. 10K. I mean, Triple J. What do you say?
I say it's about what I said earlier. If we have to be able to reach them early. You know what I'm saying, to really start pouring into them. You have a lot of kids, and I know that I know the money does solve a lot of issues. It does, and so I think we're at the point now. A lot of us give a lot of excuses, and I know some of us do, man. Like I said, I seen my mom, man. She worked 2 and 3 jobs. She sold home materials. She was a seamstress. She baked cakes through the holidays. She did all this stuff after she was disabled and couldn't work a regular job. You know what I'm saying? And so I seen her say to herself, she's not going to beg anybody. She's going to take care of her children. A lot of people don't have that mindset, though. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't have that mindset, and we have to look at that as well. A lot of people, depending on their upbringing and different things that's happened, in their lives, you have to deal with people where they're at. That doesn't mean they have to stay there. That's the thing. You don't have to stay there. When you have things like this that come up and people are, trying to pour into you and tell you different options that you may have, different things that you can do to improve your life, we have to, it's people's responsibility to listen to that. Now, if you're giving out all this advice and help and you still don't take it, now whose fault is that? You can take the horse to the water, but can you make them drink? You know what I'm saying? Because it is. Okay.
You actually can make the horse drink. You can make the horse drink. You have to put a little salt, about a teaspoon of salt, in the back of the mouth of the horse.
That's Jim.
And that horse
You're motivating the horse to drink the water. See how you can motivate the horse. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
You have to motivate. Okay, that's what I'm saying. If we can, you can't make them drink, but you can motivate that person, that horse to go ahead and take a drink. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And you can motivate a person to change you. I mean, you really can. I was motivated to change one day, you know what I'm saying, by another person, you know what I'm saying? And so we have to remember the ones that have it good, like we do. We have to remember everybody isn't there. So we have to be the ones that motivate and inspire people and encourage them to get there. Oh, to get them to take a drink. I'm sorry, Pastor Jeff.
Look here, Triple J. One day we're gonna have to get you back on a different show so you can tell your story of how you were diagnosed with diabetes and told that you would have it for the rest of their life, and you got
Yeah.
your A1C up and you don't have it. But that's another show. But look, one of the things, and I see
Let's try this.
our,
There we go.
our brother Jonathan has come in. But what I want to say is that when we have
I can't
social
hear
media
anything. All right.
platforms
Let's see what's
like
going on here.
what we have now, we're able to go live on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and we're live on Clubhouse. Education is the key, because Sean, as
Audio.
you and Triple J said, the money, sometimes it's not the money, but it's the education on how to use the money that you have. And so one of the things that the GW3 Global Women Wealth Warriors do is they partner with the Steve Harvey Youth Foundation, and young men are then mentored by another man who has made it and can set a role model for it. And so we need more of those type of programs to where we're reaching back and we're giving to those whose mothers or fathers may not have the financial education to be able to maximize the money that they are have at their access as well. And so I want to move from that. We've got a mindset. We talked about a little bit about money, but I want to move from money as it relates to just bringing the family up, since Sean says money handles all of it.
One makes it a lot easier. Guys, let's touch on that, because I just saw some crap in the comment that money does not solve all problems. If the money is not made the right way, it will create more than it solve. Obviously, teach your children to think clearly. All right, good, and they don't fall into the fault. Okay, guys, very simple. Everything that you do should be done morally. That's number one. I'll say this again. Everything, and I'm giving you my principles of making money. Whatever you do should be done morally. That's number one. Number two, if your pursuit of making money is helping other people along the way, that, in my opinion, is the only path that should be sought after. If you're hurting others along the way, then there's a problem, obviously, with it, and that'll be short-lived. So while we're on programs like these guys, putting the attention on making money the wrong way is not for this kind of mastermind session, in my opinion. Let's focus on getting all the gems out of this, and then when prime time is finished with the gems, then you can go discuss all the extra stuff on the outside. Because take a look at this, Pastor Jeff. If we're going to spend time speaking of making money the wrong way and hurting people along the way, how much time is that going to consume within our time? I want to leave the conversation with the solutions. And as I mentioned, always focus, am I adding value? Am I helping, or am I hurting? And if you're helping others, go for it. Every one of the business ventures that I'm involved in, guys, it's finding ways to help others do better. It also shows up in our languages. Whenever we're speaking, whenever you're asking, what can we do for the community? Find ways to keep teaching these people how to fish. If you keep teaching the young men how to fish, you'll never have a problem with providing food for your family. And where education is concerned, for everyone in the audience there, I have one of the largest library on Audible. It has over 1,149 books. Anyone that texts me the word Audible right now, no commitment, I don't want anything in return. Text me the word Audible. I'll be sending you a $20,000 gift. Again, money caused the library to come into existence. So I'll send the access to the library, guys. You guys can tap into any of the books. Start feeding your mind. If you listen to the books nonstop, it'll take you about 5 years to listen to all the books that I have there. So, Pastor Jess, I've been doing this since I was a very young kid. I am not the kid to be listening to music. I'm always listening into things that can feed my mind, feed my creativity, and then help me to create ways to produce income. So that's why I'm such an income fanatic.
First of all, thank you for giving access, because access is also very important. This being the month of May, almost gone, but we're still in it, is one of the things is it's the month of mental health awareness. And as we're talking about the mindset, as we're talking about creating mentors and models for those children who do not have both parents in their home, what part do you think mental health plays in it? We'll start with you, Triple J.
Well, I mean, you got to be a strong person, you know what I'm saying, mentally, to be able to handle the different things that life throw at you. Um, a lot of people uh, are good in that area, and some people are not. You know, and like I said, I hate to keep mentioning my mom, but I lived it. I watched it. You know what I'm saying? And I watched her with determination say, "You guys are not going to starve. You guys are going to have proper clothes to go to school with. If I have to break my neck to do it, that's what I'm going to do." Um, and she didn't make a lot of excuses, and she didn't ask for a lot of help from a lot of people either. And that's something I learned from her. Um, but a lot of people aren't in those situations and don't have that, you know, in them to do that. So, you know, your mental health is very important. You know, a lot of people go crazy being in situations like this because they're not prepared for certain situations that come, and it can give them like mental breakdowns. You know what I'm saying? Make them, you know, it really can. It really can weigh on them. You know what I'm saying? The different things that happen in life. You know what I'm saying? But uh, you don't have, like I said, you don't have to stay there. You can change at any given moment in life for real. If you want to be real about it, you can. You don't have to stay in certain situations. You can uh, make a change. You can tell yourself, "Hey, I'm going to handle this." You know, and you know, the ones that are strong, like we said, we have to empower them to help them to believe that it can be by telling our testimonies. You see what I'm saying? When we tell the ways that we overcame when we had struggles and how it was going bad for us, and how we were able to overcome. You know, and we'll talk about the whole diabetes thing another time because that's a whole thing. But for real, when you overcome something and you come out on the other side, you can pour into somebody else and help them to believe. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody on this planet has the power of belief in themselves. They do. But they have to go on the inside and tap into that power of belief in themselves. Once you start believing in yourself, there is nothing on this planet that can stop you. There is nothing on this planet that can stop you. I know what I'm
I
talking
not
about when it
like
comes to
Triple
that.
J. I just didn't know why.
We say we have faith. We say we have faith in everything, right? We say we have faith in God and Jesus and all of this. You know, we have faith in all of that, but you don't have faith in yourself. That is not good.
There
You
we
should
go.
be able
That
to
part.
Oh,
have faith in yourself. I'm just saying, you should be able to have faith
That
in
part.
yourself as
That
well
part.
and tap into the power on the inside of you that you already have. Unlock that thing and be unstoppable. You can do that.
oh,
I
like the
did it.
champion you
Come
are.
on, man. Come on now.
I'm just saying, you know, you over here messing with me now, and I'm trying to be good now, but I'm telling you, you can
Now
unlock
look,
that
look,
same
look,
power
Triple
because I
J.
did one day. I
Triple
I, I
J.
don't want to hear that stuff when people say to me, I can't. I say, listen, I said that too, but one day a light switch flipped on in my brain, and I was able to roll, baby. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to use the diabetes thing right now, but listen, I had 11 years of type 2 diabetes. And in 6 months, I was able to put that thing in remission, and the doctors took me off my medicine. Come on, man. If you tap
We're gonna
into the
bring you back for
power
that.
that's
We're gonna bring you back for
inside of
that
you
one, Triple
already,
J.
man, I'm telling you, it's something. Nothing can stop you. You're a train on the track, baby, and nothing can stop you. Do you hear me? Holler if you hear me. A dead man
There you
can't
go.
make no sound, baby.
Triple J that
That's
got
it. That's
fired
it.
up. Look here. I'm the pastor. You ain't supposed to be preaching, Triple J.
Sorry,
Jonathan.
Pastor. I'm the deacon. Sometimes the deacon help the pastor a little bit. He try to help him, encourage him a
There
little
we
bit.
go.
That's all. That's all.
All right, Deacon. Let's bring Jonathan into the conversation. Jonathan, how have you been, brother?
I'm doing much better now. I've actually been able to get on the site. Yeah, we had a little technical difficulties, but praise the Lord, we're here now. How you guys doing?
There we
We're
go. What's
we're
up, brother? How are you?
absolutely wonderful, and we're talking about how do we bring up the young men and young women who are living in single parent homes. How do we pour back into them since we've gotten to the position that we're at? And so
That's a good question. I think you just have to kind of go where you're led. I mean, not to, like you said, we don't want to get a preacher out here, but I mean, at the end of the day, you just have to kind of go what you're thinking that the Lord is leading you to do, and whatever that field is, whether it be academics, whether it be business, whether it be sports, whatever it is, you kind of, you know, get out there and just be there.
Well, you know, as we again talk about the mental health, you know, one of the things, gentlemen, is that we just don't know what we don't know. And I can't talk about anybody else but Pastor Jeff. And I can tell you that, you know, I've been married twice. Won't get into my first marriage was a prophet marriage in the church. And so I knew my wife all of a good 7 days before we got married. One of the things, the point I want to get to about mental health is I didn't know that I was in depression. I didn't know that I was depressed until I got out of it. I didn't know what PTSD was until I started researching it for somebody else, 10K, and realized that as I started analyzing and looking at the symptoms and said, wait a minute, Pastor Jeff, that sounds like you. Pastor Jeff, that sounds like you. And I got too many of those that sound like me. So being in the military, I was used to going to counseling, which we talked about last week of why men don't like to go to counseling, but I was accustomed to going to counseling. And so I went to counseling to find out. I got a diagnosis, but again, I said the diagnosis is not my destiny. And so we want to say, in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, is it's okay not to be okay. And help is an entire sentence. Because once we find out that we're not okay, the fact is that we can go get help to become okay. But if we stick in denial of not being okay while we are not okay, that is what leads to mental breakdowns. That's what leads to, and triggers warning, leads to suicide. And I can tell you, I don't know about you gentlemen, but I have been at the point that I wanted to leave this world early. But Triple J said I had some faith that I looked to that higher spirit, that higher being within me. And I asked myself, literally, Jonathan, I asked myself the question, if I go through this, how many people who are depending on Pastor Jeff, how many of them are going to say, if Pastor Jeff can't make it, how in the world am I going to make it? And then I realized at that moment, 10K, it wasn't about me. This life I live isn't about me. This life I live is about who I can impact with the amount of time that I'm here. And so I stopped being selfish about what I was going through. I stopped being selfish about the pain that I was feeling.
That's right.
And continued on living. And so we want to say to those who may be going through a period of depression, you may be dealing with anxiety, you may have gone through a trauma. It's nothing wrong with getting help. And understanding, Pastor Jeff wants you to understand that we don't have to take the labels. If we understand PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, that's just the label that the APA, American Psychological Association, that's the label they put on it so that the clinicians and the doctors can get paid. They lumped it into mental health. But the truth of the matter is, I say this, Jonathan, my brain, when I experienced trauma, did exactly what God intended it to do. It protected me. That's not a mental illness. That means my brain did what it was supposed to. And when God felt that my brain and my body could deal with it, some of those things came back to my memory. And I was able to look at those mechanisms that my body took to protect me in that situation. And then through counseling, come to the realization, I'm not living that every day. And since I'm not living that every day, then I can tell my body, hey, thank you for trying to protect me, but I don't need that protection right now. And so for the mental health, Sean, we're going to come to you, and then we're going to get into some relationship stuff as we move, as we're talking about this mindset and the mind shift. You know, Pastor Jeff likes to say, mindset means that we're stagnant. Mind shift says that we are moving. And a stagnant body of water will become polluted. But if it's moving, it absolutely can impact positive. 10K, what do you say about the mental health?
All right. So when I was younger, Pastor Jeff, I was raised in the Caribbean. In the Caribbean, your parents have a problem, you they will whoop your ass. They said I can't curse on the stuff, so
That's right. That's right.
so they'll whoop your ass. All right, cool. So my dad beat the crap out of me when I was younger, and which I needed it. I'll be honest with you, I was one of those badass kids, if you can't tell by now. So at the very early age, I started reading. I started reading because I realized the people that had the money didn't look like me. There were those light-skinned folks with a lot of money. So I said, okay, how can I access the bank without threatening the tellers? How can I access the money without making the people with the money feel threatened by my existence? So I started reading a lot, so I expanded my vocabulary, and then I started dressing in I always dress nice and clean, very professionally. So when I pulled up, I was that kid that was like, whoa, what is this? You're not like the usual black kid. Pants was never on my ass. I was never speaking all these, you know what I mean, slangs and what have you. So I spoke standard English, I dressed professionally, and I always accessed the money. So, you know, there's a saying that says I have a specific set of skills that I use to get through life. Everyone in this call, on stage and in the audience, have a specific set of skills. But here's the problem. You're not polishing up those skills. You are not sharpening up those skills. But what I have done for many, many years, that's why I just give my book access to anyone. Anyone that actually texts me the word audible, text the word audible to 934-444-6611. I'll send you guys the access. This is not a plug. I have no interest in doing that. We have people that's actually plugging us in other places. So I just want to make that clarification right here. So I started reading when I was a very young kid, Pastor Jeff. And what it did, it gave me the tools that I needed to navigate any waters that I would fall into. And just by owning in on these skills, it literally helped me to position myself from point A to point B. So what I want to share with everyone is this. If you tap into that superpower that you have within you, you're going to remove the need for suffering. You're going to remove the need for depression, because that skill that you have was given to you to help someone else. So if you're exercising your God-given skill to help other people, where is there a moment for you to get into your feelings? There's no moments there. It's just you taking the skill that was given to you to go help other people. And I never saw someone that felt depressed or anxious helping someone else. Because when you're helping other people and they're receiving that help, you can see the joy, you can see the happiness, you can see the transformation, you can see the progression in them. And if that's not making you feel good as a human being, something is wrong, guys. So the bulletproof way, in my opinion, to overcome all of these depression, all these negative side of life, fall in love with servicing and helping others. And once you continuously, consistently keep doing that, you're going to automatically, by some law, find yourself evolving and elevating your life as the time goes by. And as a businessman, what I did, I just structured a financial formula together that involved in my helping, I'm just financially growing simultaneously. So that's my secret handling that problem.
Thank you, Sean. I just want to let the listeners know, just in case, they were thinking the two gentlemen at the top are taken and the two gentlemen at the bottom, you got to ask them if they want to be taken. So if you text Sean, make sure you're texting Audible, because you're going to get the Audible books. But Sean is devoted to his beautiful queen, just like I am.
10,000%. 10,000%.
I just we want to make it clear. Men are simple. We tell you what we mean, and we mean what we tell you. Jonathan, from your perspective.
Wait, before you go to Jonathan, Pastor Jeff, I want to highlight something that you just did right there. What you just did was another protection that was put on couples within our society. I don't want anyone to overlook what you just did right there. What you just did, you just took a moment to highlight that we're in relationships, we're happy and we're taken. So by doing that, you're also, again, magnifying the need for protective relationships. With that said, pass it back over to you. I just want to highlight that part.
We live in a day and time that there is in the United States, because there's not a shortage of men globally, but there's a shortage of men in the United States. And when you take in consideration those who do not want women, we take in consideration those who do not want to work, you take in consideration those who are incarcerated, and you take in consideration those who are already taken, there's a shortage. And there are some women that don't mind being the side chick. And yep, Pastor Jeff said it. There are some that don't mind being the side chick. I've sat in the restaurants, not being nosy, Jonathan, but just overhearing the conversation from two women talking. And one's the side chick and wants the privileges of being the main chick. It is what it is. Oh, Jonathan, put those glasses. Jonathan, you know we bring it straight. We don't sugarcoat it here on this show. It is what it is. And so if we don't protect ourselves and we don't let folks know, you know, women see these good-looking men on here, married or not married, they will shoot their shot. So I can tell you, you can shoot your shot, but the target moves. Jonathan, when it comes to
Jonathan, put on his sunglasses.
when it comes to mental health and men, what would you say to the other men that are listening? How do we take care of ourselves? And second question, because we want you in the conversation. So
yes,
second
I think
question.
you said it last week. You know, sometimes you gotta get help. I mean, only thing I can say is that I know many years ago when I was a very young man, somehow my camera went out here. I'm not sure what happened, but anyway. There we go. Okay, I think we're back. Yeah, so anyway, several years ago when I was a young guy, I experienced some real, you know, psychological problems. So after much angst, talked to my mom a couple of times, and she said, "Hey, dear, you know, you're a believer, but that doesn't mean you can't get help." She said, "What I would suggest is seek some folks that, you know, are also believers." And so fortunately, I stumbled upon, but did some research and found that the Billy Graham Association actually had, at that time, this was probably late 80s, early 90s, late 80s, I think, they actually had established a Christian counseling division, and there happened to be one in my town. So I went to them, and I think I was probably spending about 6 months to a year, you know, dealing with some issues about some things I had done that weren't right, and trying to help me cope through that. And there's some other physical issues that have manifested itself from the mental stuff, hyperventilation, anxiety attacks, panic attacks. I was dealing with a lot of stuff. And fortunately, through prayer and through the help of the counselor, I was able to get back on the road of, you know, some normalcy. Now, of course, people will still say I'm still crazy, but that's a whole nother story. As far as the normal mental health, I really felt that it was a big key that I went to get that help because I think without it, we probably wouldn't be talking right now.
Again, for us to get over that stigma, especially as men, and who, if we've been brought up in that environment that says that we're macho, to realize that it takes strength for us to cry. It takes strength for us to admit that we need help. As we said in a previous show, you know, when Sean needs to get a tune-up on that Maserati, he's not pulling out a toolbox. He's taking it to someone who has the training and the wherewith and the know-how to take care of that. And so there are instances that we come up with in our lives that we need to go to someone. And it's not a sign of weakness to say, look, what are the tools that I need to be able to deal with this? And once you employ those tools, then you move on. And so we move from the mindset. I didn't say we're a victim now, Triple J. We move from the mindset of a victim to living the life of a victor. And then, as some would say, our mess then becomes our message. We have something that we can tell someone else. And while we don't always have to have an experience, it helps when we not only can we can empathize and sympathize with a person and say, I don't know how you feel, but I've been through a similar situation. And so one of the things I don't make a mistake to do is tell a person that I know how they feel. I mean, my son transitioned from this garden that God planted called Earth last year, and there are others whose loved ones transitioned as well. I dare not tell them I know how they feel. I'll tell them I can understand their feeling because I've been through a similar experience. And so no parent knows how it feels to lose their child but themselves. And so for that, I can't tell you how any of you gentlemen, how you would feel in any circumstance, but I can tell you if I've had a similar one that I can empathize with you and I can share how I got through mine and share if there were tools that I use, I can share those tools as well. But I want to ask this, let's get into the relationship side. We've talked about money. We've talked about mental health. And so I want to go to Sean's favorite conversation outside of his wife and the XXXX rated side that we will not talk about on this show. Sean, hit. When it comes to relationships with women, when you find, and this is more for the single gentleman, and Sean and I give our perspective as married men. So, gentlemen, this is a situation. This is a scenario. You are introduced to a woman who has her own place to live. She has her own luxury car. She has her own bank account. She has her own stock portfolio. She has her own company. She does not need an alpha male to take care of her. And you're introduced to her. She doesn't want you to take care of her. She just wants companionship. But it comes to your knowledge that her net worth is greater than your net worth. And what she brings in every month is greater than what you bring in every month. Is that a deal breaker or is it not? Triple J, coming to you. How you gonna deal with that lady, Triple J?
Be a deal breaker. I mean, why is it? Aren't you getting together and you're about to put it all together and go
Don't put it
forward
on me,
in life?
Triple J. This is all about you, Triple J.
Well, okay. Well, I'll say me. Just me,
you.
because everybody got their own. But me, I say no. I mean, that shouldn't make me uncomfortable and make me feel less of a man because her net worth is greater or she makes more money. That shouldn't make me feel that way. If it does, that's something wrong with me. I mean, why is that a thing? I mean, just me saying that for me. I know everybody else have their own thing, but no, I mean, it shouldn't be a problem. When you're together, you're pulling everything together anyway. You know what I'm saying? You're going forward as a union, as a unit. You know what I'm saying? As a team. You know what I'm saying? So why? Yeah, if one person got a little bit better on the team, oh well, we're part of the team. It's everything in there. Come on now. You don't get mad at the gumbo if everything's in the gumbo. Just put it all in there and have you a good meal. What's wrong with that, Pastor Jeff? That's all I'm saying. What's wrong with that, Pastor Jeff? I don't have a problem.
I just want to let the ladies that may be looking for a heavyweight champion of the world, let them know that, look, Triple J say, if you got it all together, that's okay. He's down for it. Brother Jonathan, coming to you. Your glasses are off. We want you to keep your glasses off right now, Brother Jonathan. So, Brother Jonathan, we know that you are successful, but this young lady, she got it going on. She don't need none of your money. She don't need any of those cars that's on the car lot. She got it. Are you able to? Yeah, is that going to be a deal breaker for you? And why not? Why or why not?
All right. Well, before I answer, I always want to. I guess I'm so used to hosting shows myself. I don't get some of these comments up from social media. So, Vilma Samuel, when my man was talking before, she said, I can resonate with that, Sean. It's a Caribbean thing. Everybody gets the break beat off my guest. That's true. Happy Girl said, how can I get access to the Audible? So Happy Girl, this will be on the YouTube page. I'm sure you can probably download the audio from there. After Smith said, I thank the Lord Jesus. I'm a very strong and physically fit woman. I'm very masculine, but I don't get it twisted. I have a man. We work together 50-50. I don't have those problems. I have zero drama. I get along with males, women, and that's another story. I don't live with no woman. She's also said that you guys talked about how there are not many men. A lot of men that personally told me they don't want to be with a woman because of the drama and emotions that women bring. I'm a woman. I don't really have any women as friends. Too much drama, too much drama. So Ashton is, I guess she would be an alpha woman. I'm not sure. But anyway, Ashton, we appreciate you bopping in. So you notice I've been kind of deflecting, so I don't have to put my business out in the street. But anyway,
that was a good try.
Look, if you don't want to answer, you just don't have to answer. But Pastor Jeff is going to ask the questions now.
Right. So at the end of the day, Renee is pinging me, telling me, answer the questions. So I'm going to answer the question. Yeah, for me, I mean, without getting too much detail, I kind of experienced that a little bit in real time. So I met a woman at an event that I was doing, and she has a very successful firm. And I said, hey, let me stop by and visit her. And said, hey, let's go to lunch. And she said, okay, that's great. Let's go ahead and do that. And she says, tell you what, why don't we just take my car? It's right down the parking lot. I said, great, okay, no problem. So we're walking kind of ways in the parking lot, and way in the corner in the back, all of a sudden, bloop, bloop, and I see the lights flash. I said, oh, that's her car right there. And I said to her, but I'm thinking to myself, this is a nice car. And we go over, and she opened the door on her wonderful, very nice Bentley GT convertible. Now, I don't know, some people be thinking I'm going to Super Bowl coverage and stuff like that, but I don't know Bentley. I can tell you that right now. So yeah, I will tell you that, all of a sudden, as much as you're trying to like not think about those things, man, that you start thinking about a lot of stuff. So thinking, well, okay, what, you actually start to doubt yourself. So this woman's she's driving a Bentley. She has a very successful firm, and you're thinking, what can I really add to the table? She's probably been all over the world. I'm sure she's gotten dozens of bouquets of flowers, been to the best restaurants. I'm thinking, okay, well, how's this going to work? But it turned out it was a very nice woman. We just went to a local establishment right there near her office and had a great time talking and conversating. But I will say that, yeah, it's easier to say this in a forum when you're not actually with a woman like that, but when they can be very intimidating. I don't care if you're alpha male, beta male. Yeah, especially if she's making like major money. Yeah, it's just, it's.
All right, we're great. We'll accept that, Jonathan. I'm gonna save mine for last. 10K.
I said again.
I want you guys to listen carefully. What's that, Jonathan? All right. So what I'm gonna say to every man out there, and I want you to listen to me carefully. If you happen to meet a woman that is in such a beautiful, elevated stage of her life, great, congratulations to her. You just have a task on your hand to find a way to match and exceed her accomplishments. And I want you to listen to me carefully. While you're supporting her or adding value to her existing world, you need to figure out a way to bring in some more bacon or find yourself in a unique position. Listen carefully. If you're open, you'll get the answer. If you're closed, hey man, good luck. So if you can find a way to support her, but then creatively figure out a way to bring in your own bacon, which is either equal or even surpasses hers. And I'll tell you why that's important, guys. A woman with a Bentley, you think she want a flight coach? You think she want to eat at the food truck? You think she want to go to the 24 hours fitness? No, she does not. Chances are she has certain things that she's accustomed to. And when as a man, you're not making a contribution towards that kind of lifestyle, it will subconsciously bother you. On the flip side of the equation, if you can figure out a way to create your income and your revenue in such a way that you can actually help to complement her existing lifestyle, that is just the ultimate win right there, in my opinion. So I'm just going to share this. I'm just going to share this with you guys. If you can find a way, because where you meet, that's one thing, but where you end up is something completely different. And this is the argument I normally have with guys. If you meet a woman with that position, and at the end of the story is still that position, you're lucky this is a censored audience, but you messed up. The word I'm going to use is you messed up. If she is willing to help position you in a way to earn or to become a high earner, so to speak, if she's willing to help position you and you take that position and you put in the work necessary to become that individual, to attract that kind of income, I think that's a worthy conversation to have. But don't go knocking on a woman's door if you're not willing to level up your game, guys. And when I say out of your league, I'll go back to this again. If you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to do whatever it takes to keep advancing, growing, and leveling up, any woman is going to work with you. If she sees signs of progression, she will work with you no matter where she met you. But you have to be showing those signs of progression. And most importantly, you have to have the mental strength to keep building and building and building and building. Because whatever she's achieved, she don't want to work for the rest of her life, maybe. She want to maybe have someone to help her with that journey. So if you demonstrate the skills that's necessary to keep building on those blocks that was laid, that situation I can work with. But one of the ways I solve my problem, guys, is I just focus on expanding the amount of collaborations that I can have. I don't need to count the money. I just count the collaborations. Collaborations for me are equal to money. And guess what? There's 8 billion people in the world. You have access to unlimited collaborations. So my personal success formula is I'm always looking for new ways to collaborate with others. Because when I collaborate with others and I get to pull the best out of them and I become a part of that best of them in a collaboration, it just equals to some more adding towards my bottom line. That's my response to that.
You know what? I enjoy these conversations because as men, we're able to chop it up and we don't have to have the same opinion. And so I'm going to tell you Pastor Jeff's opinion on it. Matter of fact, it's not even my opinion. I'm just going to be transparent with you and tell you what happened.
Whoa, I have to acknowledge Vilma. Vilma is so freaking right. That shit will damage your goddamn testosterone and your ego. Anyway, Jeff, I just have to say that. Back to you.
I'm gonna be transparent with you and tell you my story. And sometimes my wife thinks I'm too transparent, but you know, it is what it is. Because Pastor Jeff's gonna be who Pastor Jeff is. And so when I met my wife, we were both the same rank in the military. I had been in longer, and so I actually was making more money than she was making. Neither of us owned any property at that point in time. And so it's from the financial perspective, Sean, you know, I had more income than she had. When my son was born, I wanted her to get out the military and be a housewife. Well, Sean, since this is not X-rated, I can't say what she told me, but needless to say, she spent 28 years in. So you can imagine for yourself what she told me. And she didn't say it the way Mother Teresa would say it.
That's all right.
So what I shared with her was, I said, look, if you're going to stay in for a career, don't make the same mistake that I made. I waited too late to come to the knowledge that it wasn't about being an NCO. Because when I came in, they said, you know, the NCOs run the Army. And I wanted to be the one who was running things. But at the end of the day, when you retire, your retirement check is based off of the highest rank that you held. And so officers are higher ranked than NCOs. And so basically I told her, look, you are either going to become a warrant officer or you're going to OCS and become a commissioned officer. They're all commissioned now. And so she decided which one she was going to do. Her friend and I literally put her paperwork together. All she had to do was sign it, and she became a warrant officer. As she made rank, her salary then came higher than mine. And so my career was what my career was. And so we've kind of seesawed. When I first started out as a contractor, she was still making more than me. Then it seesawed. I was making more than her. And this to me is the point, Sean. It's not about how much either spouse makes. It's about the energy that they exert to each other. If a woman becomes dominant because she has more money, and she equates that she has more say, then as you said, Sean, that jacks up your testosterone. But if a woman understands that you're working together and she does not exert that masculine energy, I'm going to take over because I make more, then as you build together, it really doesn't matter because it's for the benefit of the family. And you both are able to benefit from what you do. It's not you spent up your portion of what you brought in and don't expect that you're going to get none of mine. It's what we're building. And from your perspective, Sean, we're building an empire together. And so it's the king and the queen that are ruling the empire and setting the empire up for their children. So the question for me would be, like for Jonathan and for Triple J, is when that energy changes, does that become a turnoff? Does that a sign to say this isn't going to be the proper relationship? Or if that energy remains to, it really doesn't matter because I didn't get you to take care of me. Because I think inherently that we as men want to be protectors, we want to be providers. And it gives us a sense of pride to know that I'm providing and I'm protecting. But if we get that sense that you don't need my protection and you don't need me to provide for you, then the question is, what am I here for? What do you say, Jonathan?
I don't know why you always ask me these questions. Let me just make it plain here. So for me, I think I mentioned last week, I'm really really not the best guy about relationships because I've had so few. So I'm like a novice. I don't know. I mean, I've been married not 1 minute, and my dating career could be listed on probably both hands like this. I mean, I don't know. The only thing I can say is that sometimes it seems like they make it like too complicated. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I would think that if you and your future spouse are both prayerful people, I think the Lord will somehow allow you two guys to get together and things will work out. Think about this. I mean, Queen Elizabeth, she's the queen. Okay. Her husband was not a king. He was not a prince. The guy he was an officer, but that was the love of her life. And they were married for what, 60, 70 years or something like that. He was a dashing guy. If you look at pictures when he was young, man, he was the man. But at the end of the day, he seemed to be okay being the husband of a queen. So I don't know. I guess if that's the love of your life, I guess you'll find a way to make it work. I guess. I don't know.
All right, Triple J. Hold on, Sean. Triple J.
He ready, ain't he? He ready
John
to jump
ready.
in there. He ready to jump in there hard on that.
He's gonna have a whole talk show all by himself.
Yeah.
Hold on, Sean.
Go ahead.
Sean, I'm gonna make it real. Sean, I'm gonna make it real short and then I know you go. I already know. All right, I see it in your eyes. Eye of the tiger. But I still say with my original answer, it shouldn't matter when you love each other. It shouldn't, but sometimes it does. It depends on like Jonathan said. If you have the Lord with you, and that's your foundation, then you should be able to be okay with that and still progress together. I see Sean. He pacing up there. He ready. So, but I think if you're both okay with that, because it shouldn't matter who makes more. It shouldn't, and it shouldn't be where the person that makes more is looking at the person that doesn't make as much and looking down on them. And it shouldn't be that the person that's not making as much feel insecure about the person that's making more. I mean, it shouldn't be like that. But we know that that's not the case in a lot of relationships. But with me, it doesn't matter. With me, it doesn't matter. Love, when you got love there, and that's the foundation, it don't matter. Because like you just said, the queen, she's a queen. She was higher than him, but she still loved him. They stayed together all that time. They didn't have that discussion about the queen make more money than, that's just me. But Sean, come on around the corner, Sean. I know you.
Well, before Sean come around the corner, we already know what Sean's going. Before he come around the corner, Miss Cobb says that it shouldn't matter, and the perspective could absolutely switch. It could be the man that feels that he's emasculated when he's really not emasculated. His energy could change because he feels that he's not in control anymore. And so absolutely, Ms. Cobb is correct that either energy could change. But the thing is, as we talk about mindset, all of what we've talked about today is working in collaboration and working together. And so our mental health, our communication, our mindset, and so the mindset of both the male and the female, it has to be about building the team and not building individually. Because if it's not about building the team, then somebody gets in their feelings, whether it be the man in his feelings or the woman in her feelings, and the energy in the house changes over what? It doesn't even make sense. The energy in the house changes because there's more funds in it. And I know Mr. Charlotte will say, if there are more funds in the house, the energy should be positive and not negative. The energy should go up and not down. The husband and the wife ought to be doing more together than being separated because somebody in their feelings about how much money coming into the house. That is ludicrous. All right, come on, Sean.
All right, guys. I'm not sure what kind of sexual encounters you're having when you're not making enough money. But I damn well know what kind of sexual encounter I'm having when I'm making a lot of money. And it just feels different, guys. That's all I'm gonna say right now. Now take a look at this. Take a look at this. If you
Sean, before you go there, before you go there, you're taking it to to the man who doesn't have enough. And my scenario is that the man has enough, he can take care of himself. The woman has enough, she can take care of herself. It's not that the woman is taking care of him, is that she doesn't need him to take care of her. But he can, if she wants to fly first class, he can fly first class too. That was the scenario. Now, right. I shared my perspective of the wife and I grew together because at the point that we met, I can say I made a little more than what she made, but we weren't flying first class. We didn't have the businesses. We didn't have all the properties that we own now. And so we were building. And so we're talking now that you're there. Sean, so if you weren't married, you have what you have, and you meet somebody that has what you have and more. And that was the scenario. But right. I really want to move to the next point, Sean, because before you
go there, one of my foundational positions is very simple. A man should know what he wants out of life. A man should have his goals and his dreams crystal clear to him. When you meet a woman, in my opinion, this would have been my approach. I would try to find out exactly what that woman is looking to achieve in life. This, in my opinion, should always be a foundation question. And when she shares with you what she's looking to achieve in life, if you know you are in a position to assist her in that or helping to make that a reality, I think you should continue with the conversation. But if you know darn well you're not in a position to help her along that path, be honest and get out of the way. Because when a woman recognizes you lied to her, she came with some special tools, guys. She came with some blender tools that she's going to use it on you when she figured out that you bullshit her. That's number one. Number two, when she asks you, what are your goals and dreams? If you know what your goals and dreams are, and she see a way that she can actually help you to fulfill your goals and dreams, if those two energies connect, you're onto something. You're onto something. One of the reasons I'm always going to be going after infinite wealth or / income is because you can take some of that and you can actually help society at large. Because here's the thing, I'm not always going to be next to my wife and my kids 24/7. But I would like to know when they travel to an industry or to a region that I somehow had a positive influence on, someone can recognize that as being my wife or my kids. And they can be like, wait a minute, let's put some extra protection over there. Let's pay a little extra attention to these individuals and see what we can do to protect them a little more. That's going to make me sleep better at night, guys. So whenever you see me going after income, after revenue, all this kind of good stuff, is because the places and the people that you're helping will one day come full circle and end up helping you and your family. So this is why I'm such a fanatic as going after more and getting more. Because if you are so stuck in just living for yourself or living for your own, hey man, good luck. You just might find the rest of your life having to protect yourself. But if you're fighting for the rights and the betterment of others, one day you're going to look around and realize an entire army has been created to now fight for you and your path forward. So I just want to touch that point right there.
Thank you, Sean. And we've taken it from a perspective of a couple that's just getting together to a couple that's in their season of life and have been established. This is the last question, gentlemen, and I want you to be brief with it. And we're going to do it the way that men do it. We make it simple. We make it easy. We say what we mean, and we mean what we say.
That's
gentlemen,
right.
In a relationship with our spouses or in a relationship with a woman, is love enough? That's the question. This is our final question. We'll let the women. In a relationship, is love enough? And we're going to start with 10K. 10K, Sean, we don't want a dissertation on this one. Just give us a short
I'll try not to. I'll try not to.
Hang on, brother. Before I do, I'm going to exit stage left because speaking of working, man, I got to go back to work. It's my lunch break, so y'all can handle it.
Why don't you go ahead and answer the question first?
Yes, you answer first. Go try, Jonathan. Go try.
We pass it to you, Jonathan, first. Is love enough?
Well, you hope it would be enough. I mean, if it's love the way the Bible describes it, then that should be enough. Because if you look at the description of love, that's a lot you got to do. Long suffering, patience, kindness. You're not, you don't envy the other person. You don't get puffed up. You don't get easily offended. If both of you are operating in that, you would think that would be enough. And the only thing I can say is in terms of I'm always going back to the Bible as a reference. Read the story in Judges, in the 4th chapter, about the only woman that God appointed to be judge over Israel. And I kind of wonder what her husband had to do if his wife operating to, kind of run the whole country. And on that note, brothers, peace and love. Sisters, appreciate you. And hopefully we'll be back again next week.
Hope to see you next week, Jonathan. Thank you. I like the fact that you said you would imagine. We're going to go to Triple J. Go ahead. Triple J, is love enough?
It should be enough.
Oh,
it should be. I put it like this: if you both love each other, that's the foundation for you to grow everything else. So if you do have that love for each other, you both are going to work together and work towards that happiness and that stability. That's what you're going to do. I won't say it's all that you need, but that better be the foundation. Because if that's not the foundation, it ain't going to work anyway. That's just me.
All right. So yes or no? Is love enough?
And the way I just described, yes.
All right.
Because it's the foundation for everything.
You heard it from Triple J. It's your perspective and your truth. 10K.
So the question is: love from the woman enough, or love from the? Let me make sure I get the question very clear.
Is love in your marriage enough for you to stay married?
100%. 100%.
Okay.
100%. 100%.
See, Pastor Jeff, you didn't put it like that to me now.
Because you're not married.
You put a little tweak. You put a little
yes,
tweak
no.
Yeah.
Don't blame Pastor Jeff. Don't blame Pastor Jeff. I asked a specific. You see that, Pastor Jeff? They're trying to beat you with something that I didn't ask for. I asked specifically.
It's okay. Pastor Jeff will take
it. Enough. And Pastor Jeff, on a serious note, here's what I want to share. And this is especially to the benefit of the ladies.
We got to wrap it up, Sean.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So to the benefits of the ladies out there, you are enough. You are the creator of life. And if there's men out there that's not giving you that princess/queen's feeling, the right man has not shown up as yet. So just know that you have everything that it takes within you, ladies, and you are already enough. The right man will come your way and activate all that you are on the inside of you. You don't have to go out there and change anything else. Sometimes it costs some money. Back to you, Jeff.
Pastor Jeff. Oh, this is good. I'm 2 chapters away from completing my book, The One Thing a Marriage Cannot Survive Without. And I'm going to tell you, gentlemen, it's not love. So love is not enough. Been married for 30 years, been with my wife for 32 years, and sometimes we don't love each other. And so you got to have more than just love for your marriage to survive. I know some folks think that if we have a God-type love, and this is Pastor Jeff's perspective, we are not going to always agree. And what I shared with the women on Wednesday night is this, is that if my love language and my wife's love languages are different, I'm pouring into her in my language, but her love bank's not being filled. And if she's pouring into me with all she has with her love language, but it's not my love bank language, then my love bank is not filled. And so we have a conflict because I'm not feeling fulfilled. She's not feeling fulfilled, but we both absolutely love each other. And so there are some tools that we need when we go into relationships to understand how do we give love to our spouse or to the person that we're dating in the way that they receive it, which is uncomfortable for us. And hopefully they will reciprocate and give it to us. And so as we close out the day, this has been another Tom Ford Mind, Money, Matrimony, where the men chop it up. We let the ladies be flies on the wall. We've taken some of your questions and other ones we didn't get to. But look here, ladies, you absolutely can come on Wednesday night and we can chop it up about what the men chopped it up, but from your perspective. This is Pastor Jeff, and we're going to give this right back to Renee as we take it from your house right back to the clubhouse. God bless you. And if nobody told you today, I want you to know that you have an absolutely beautiful smile. If you don't believe it, go look in the mirror. Smile at yourself. Pastor Jeff guarantees you that you're going to smile back. And when you smile back, share that smile with the rest of the world. Enjoy your holiday weekend. Renee, we're giving it right back.
Wakanda forever!